Hello and welcome back. My name is Mike Keeler. Behind the camera is Mr. Patrick Duffy, and we're here to bring you a little bit more on Channel 20 of the history of Central City. Today we're standing right here in front of the Opera House, and as you can see, there was very famous people that graced the stage here. We also want to take you inside around the seating area, show you the chandeliers, take you to the backstage and show you dressing rooms and things like that that you wouldn't normally see. So in the meantime, get yourself ready because we're going to go back in time around 1878. So now we're inside the lobby of the famous Opera House, and around on the walls are, of course, some of the signs that tell you who graced the stage here. Also on the walls are some pictures, and I'm going to get Mr. David Forsythe to come out and speak with us, but he's been busy selling tickets back here. David, welcome back again.
Thank you.
David has been kind enough to be with us through most of our shows because he's the historian up here in town, and he works out of the museum. And I seem to keep him pretty busy on the week, during the week anyway. But we want to give you a little bit more history about some of these pictures on the wall, and then we'll take you inside of the opera building. David, can you help us out on the pictures?
Sure. The first picture over there is Peter McFarlane, who was one of the original builders of the Opera House and the man who saved it back in the 1880s when it was almost ready to go under. He eventually became the owner of it, converted it into a movie theater, and kept doing operas and plays here until 1927. The next picture on the wall is his daughter-in-law, Ida Cruz McFarlane, who was an English professor at the University of Denver and was instrumental in getting the McFarlane family to donate the Opera House to DU back in 1931. This is Julie Penrose, who was a major opera supporter. Her husband Spencer Penrose owned the Broadmoor Hotel in Colorado Springs, and she donated the 3 houses that are across the street from the Opera House where performers live during the summer. This is Ann Evans, whose father was John Evans, the 2nd Territorial Governor of Colorado and one of the co-founders of DU. She and Ida Cruz McFarlane were the 2 women who led the group that reopened the Opera House in 1932. This is Edna Chappell, and then her husband Delos is down on the far side there. They were major opera supporters who contributed a lot of money to it over the years and were very involved with productions. And this is Robert Edmund Jones, who was the first artistic director of the opera when it got going again in 1932. And this is the billboard from when the opera reopened in July of 1932 with the play Camille starring Lillian Gish, and you can see she was herself in person here. And opening night was such a big deal that they actually broadcast it live on radio throughout the country.
Wow, that's a picture of her over there too.
Yeah, that's her on stage here in the Opera House.
Very interesting. If you definitely get a chance to come up here and visit, this would definitely be on the top of your list to come and see because it is beautiful in this place. Now we're going to kind of slowly walk you up the stairs and show you a little bit on the inside of the opera. We're at the top of the steps, and as you can see, they're still pretty steep. A lot of steps around here are steep, so you have to be really careful. Through these leather doors, right on in here where the best entertainment in Central City had been for years and years. Like Dave just said, Lillian Gish was a headliner here, and she was great at that time. So we're going to walk you on up in here. I'm going to sit down and talk with Dave for a couple minutes and kind of show you a little bit around the auditorium. Here we are sitting in the audience area with Mr. Dave Forsythe. We were just talking, the acoustics in here are unbelievable. Unbelievable, I can hear like an echo now as I talk.
And the building does actually have perfect acoustics, and that's That's the way it was built. That's not because they remodeled it or fixed it up over the years. We've actually had sound engineers come in here on tour just to hear the acoustics.
Oh, it's beautiful, it's beautiful. And as we look around, we can see murals on the walls that are 3D, and the ceilings, the chandeliers on the top, the upper deck. Patrick's gonna show you what he can here. And then actually, he'll go by the stage up there. And then in front of the stage is the orchestra pit, and that is pretty deep. So maybe we can get a picture of it. I don't know if you can see much of it in the dark, but we'll get up there and take a look at it. You know, that light on the stage, can you tell me a little bit more about that, Dave?
It's called a ghost light, and that's actually a very old theater superstition. You find them in theaters all over the place. And whenever there is a performance or something going on in the building, that's supposed to be kept lit just to keep the ghosts away so they don't bring any bad luck into the building.
I've got to ask my friend about that. What about, I mean, I don't know what would keep, why does the light keep them away, I guess?
I don't know. I guess it's just an old theory that ghosts don't come out in the dark or in the light.
Well, we're going to have my friend Randy up here with the paranormal group called The Other Side, and we'll ask him a couple questions like that during our interview that we're going to do at the Belvedere. We're going to take you down onto the stage now and walk you through the back and show you some dressing rooms and things like that, so you get an idea of what it looks like in the back. So stay with us. And we're back. Right now, Dave and I are standing on the stage where so many great people grace this thing. I keep saying Lillian Gish, but there was many, many more.
Shirley Booth, Myrna Loy, Christopher Reeve, Mae West, Don Amici, you name it, they were coming through here in the place that they used to put on here.
Yeah, I know at the museum we have some signs over there that people that have attended and signed.
It was a tradition after a performance to go down to the Glory Hole Tavern on Main Street and sign the wall in the back room and have a few of those things.
Yeah, I enjoy looking at those every time I go up there for a meeting. Anyway, on my left, a little bit higher, Dave can tell you about this. This is a 3D graphic here, and I don't know how well it's going to come out on the camera, but I'll let Dave tell you a little bit more about it.
The horse paintings, and there's one on either side of the stage, are called trompe-l'oeils. It's a French technique, it means fool the eye. And they do look like 3D, even though they are flat on the wall. I've been told there are actually churches in Europe that have angels painted this way, and it looks like their feet are hanging over the balconies. They're so realistic. These two were done in 1932 by a local artist named Pascal Quackenbush. His daughter actually still has the sketches that he did before he painted these on the wall. He was also responsible for restoring the original ceiling in here when they got back in 1932. An artist out of Denver named Alan True gets credit for it because he had the contract, but it was actually Quackenbush who did all the work, so he really was quite an artist.
I mean, this place is beautiful, beautiful. I mean, when you're on the stage, it's like everybody just right there on top of you, you know?
Yeah, a lot of people like this because it does feel so intimate, being so small.
Yeah, the upper deck is just right there.
Yeah.
So I would only dream of being able to do something like, you know, on this stage
Yeah.
for people.
And from the audience's perspective, there is not a bad seat in here. So wherever you're sitting, even if it's in the back row of the balcony, you can see and hear everything that goes on.
Even the orchestra pit right there is a good seat, right?
Yeah.
And the orchestra pit's probably about, 8 foot deep down
Yeah.
there.
It's pretty deep, although the ceiling height isn't much over 6 feet. So,
And the other thing is too, if people want to come check out the Opera House, we will be doing the creepy crawls in here, one of our shows. So you'll be able to go on that tour, and they'll walk you in here and let you listen to one of our spirits that we'll have here at the Opera House, which is really, really interesting. Anyway, we're going to take you backstage now and show you a staging area and some of the dressing rooms. If we're having a little bit of a hard time talking, it's because it's about 30 degrees in here. It is so cold. And I think, I don't know if it's just the insulation or...
it's just kind of the fact that the building doesn't have heat.
Yeah.
That's why it's a summer season. When they they built it, it did have 3 coal-fired furnaces, but they broke down years ago, and they just stuck with the summer season, which actually works because most major operas are either spring or fall, so this gives opera people something to do in the summer.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting to come up here and watch one of the operas. This year, they had one across the street at the St. James, which is a 156-year-old church, which will get you into that too and walk you through. But there are some great shows that they have planned for the upcoming year. So if you get a chance, come on up and visit them and buy some tickets and come here and see one of their shows. You'll love it. But behind me right now, you get an idea of the seating. It's like right on top of us here. And it's just unbelievable. Unbelievable. But anyway, from here we're going to take you on back again and show you staging and dressing room. All right, I'm just off stage in one of the original dressing rooms right here. And on my right you can see, of course, it's updated with the power boxes and stuff like that. But this is all the space that they had to run out on that stage. So kind of take a look around. It's only about 5 foot by 5 foot in here. It's not very big. But the whole thing is that they only had this much space to get everything ready in a short amount of time. We're going to take you back and show you the newer ones now. And here we are in the newer dressing room. Now this dressing room was built in about 1951, so it's much more updated. But if you can see, all these pictures on the walls are movie stars and people that have been here at the opera and of course signed all their pictures and everything, and they go all the way around the room. I wished I could tell you some of the years of some of these because they are pretty old, but I wanted to give you an idea of what it looks like in the old dressing room here. This is an original chair. It's even numbered, number 13, believe it or not. So from here on, we're going to take you back into the staging areas and show you what those look like and give you a good idea of how they did everything here. Now we're in the wig room, and this is where all the actors would come and they would prepare for the show, put whatever they needed on at that time. And then we're going to take you over to the dress room and show you what that looks like inside. But if you can see around here, I mean, the rooms aren't that big, so you can imagine what it was like in the middle of a show, people running in and out of here trying to get changed and put the different wigs on and stuff like that. I don't know if you know much about this room at all, Dave. Other than I know there's several rooms up and down this hallway that can be dressing rooms, but they're more like makeup rooms and things like that.
Yeah, this really is just where they'd either style the wigs, get the wigs ready, or get the own actor's hair ready if they didn't need a wig for the part.
And again, in every room there's picture after picture after picture. And some of the dates, I can't see some of the small print on them, but I'm sure they go back, way back, early 1900s, some of the pictures down here. So again, this is the wig room, and this is where everybody would get ready for their shows. So we're going to take you over to the dressing room, the dress room now. So all right, now we're in the dressmaking room, and as you can see, here's one of the machines right now that's already threaded up and everything, and they would have to do this in a matter of minutes before they went out on stage. Also up here on my right, they've dressed up one of these little dolls that's kind of creeping me out, but she got a little feather in her hair and this nice little dress on and stuff like that. But anyway, there's some more sewing machines up there, and it looks like probably 4 or 5 people would work in here through the whole show, just making adjustments for people and everything. And on my left over here is everything you can think of, from buttons to any type of zippers or hitches or anything like that. So this is the dressmaking room, a busy room during the opera season. We're now standing in one of the staging areas just off the stage here, and this is where they would set up all their displays or their shows. and get ready to push it out there. But Dave was just telling me it was built when?
1951.
1951. And then on my right over here is the original wall that they connected it to. You can see the stone wall right there. And of course, we all know when that was built, so. And I'll say it again, it was built in 1878. So you get a good idea of how big this room is. Again, I want to thank the Opera Association here in Central City and Mr. Jim Johnson, who's sitting out in the audience. You didn't get to see him through the show, but he's the caretaker of this building and the Teller House. And I hope you enjoyed this trip through here. And I want to also thank Mr. Dave Forsythe. He's been with us on a few shows now. And like I said at the beginning, he's a historian up here, and he helps us out for quite a bit. And we're so lucky to be able to get a hold of him and have him come in and walk through and explain a few things to us. Real quick, I also want to remind everybody that the month of October, the 16th and the 17th, the 23rd and 24th, we have the Creepy Crawls up in Central City. The Opera House will be one of those locations, and the Teller House also. And I believe we're going to be using the stables across the street also in that. So if you get a chance, please come up and visit us for the Creepy Crawls. And again, Dave, thank you so much for all your time. It's very much appreciated. And you can come up and see Dave. He's usually across the street over there at the Washington Hall. And he has a group of people that will take you on a personal tour of each and every one of these buildings. And again, I want to thank everybody. Dave, do you have anything that you wanted to say? Cat got your tongue. But anyway, thank you again, Opera Association here in Central City. Mr. Jim Johnson for opening the doors. We appreciate it very much. Until then, we'll see you next week, maybe at the either St. James or City Hall across the street. Thank you, everyone.